This is my part 2 of an ongoing series of me looking at Ratatouille and why the movie is quite spectacular. This one is going to be about more of the, not cinematography, but more of the camera work, I suppose, of certain scenes, which helps Ratatouille really capture the intensity of living the life of a rat. The most popular example of this is in a very particular scene where Remy first enters the kitchen and he is struggling to survive, pretty much. Something amazing that this movie does is it really gives an interesting take, camera-wise, of, following Remy throughout every shot. It's very on the ground. It's very next to where he is, especially in that one scene. It feels very much like you are scampering with Remy. And on top of that, it makes everything that comes out to attack Remy, or comes out to, threaten Remy, all the more terrifying. And on top of that, a large amount of it doesn't cut. There's actually a lot of it where it stays the same. So it seems as if it's one recurring long take. A lot of it feels like a continuous long take, which is really impressive. Another time where this happens is where Remy is climbing out of the sewer for the first time. It follows him. It literally follows him the entire time, except for the small segment in which he's talking to the ghost of Chef Cousteau. But that's about it. It legitimately follows him, and that long take makes it feel more interesting. It makes it feel kind of faster, even though it would feel slower, because he's scampering about. And I also love how all the interactions with the other things are always based upon Remy's perspective, which is, incorporated with the camera. But at the time when Remy looks, it usually looks to the thing where it's going. We as the audience get to see what Remy is looking at immediately, right? And then when the moments where we get to see what Remy doesn't see, it's right before. And then Remy sees it, and then it helps build up the intensity, right? Especially in the part in the kitchen where the fire is about to go off, right? That's really intense, right? And for the small amount of cuts that this does make, it makes for some really interesting and creative shots. An example of this is when Remy gets thrown into the oven, right? The door's just about to close. He turns and he jumps, and we literally feel and kind of see and kind of, at least me, my heart gets pumping when I see that, because he literally jumps out and he's just barely doesn't die, right? And right when he jumps, it cuts to a different shot of the oven, and it shows him flying out. And that really helps, make it feel quick and make it feel kind of like everything is at stake. And that's a really cool part of Ratatouille. And I think that that's really profound and unique, because it really, it sums up a big point of the movie, which is said at the beginning, is Remy says, "I'm a rat," which means life is hard. Which obviously could be a metaphor for any given thing, but also it could just be a metaphor for saying, I don't feel like I belong anywhere, ergo life is hard, I feel like I have to constantly survive everywhere, and it's a very interesting decision from the writers to have this place of terror and intensity, the kitchen, end up being his favorite place and where his dreams come true. And I think I don't think that was an accident. It could be. There's always every now and then, but I think that they did that on purpose, because they knew that it is an arc for Remy becoming himself and finding who he is, right? And finding pride in that. All right. I think this is going to about end it for this part 2. Stay tuned in for part 3, Part 3 is going to be about as short as this one. I didn't really think of all the things, and in realization, I started off with probably one of the bigger points of Ratatouille. So the other ones might be smaller, might be this length, but no promises. But like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.